Hey guys, welcome back to Adlib Talk, and this is my review for Netflix's latest movie, Hustle. Well, this was a surprise. Netflix's movies truly are hit and miss, but finally, I think we've got ourselves a hit. But before we start with this review, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and please do consider subscribing. So, Hustle, starring Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah, Ben Foster, Juancho Hernangómez, and Robert Duvall, is directed by Jeremiah Zagar from a screenplay by Taylor Materne and Will Fetters. Our protagonist is Stanley Sugarman, an aging scout from the Philadelphia 76ers who play in the NBA. His job is looking for the future next NBA star. And look, he does as he travels all around the world. And in the opening scene, we see him observing disappointing player after disappointing player. Now, the owner of the 76ers, Rex Merrick, seems to love him and treats him almost like family. Unfortunately, his son, Vincent, seems to be on a different wavelength. And this is a constant conflict we see throughout the whole movie, which comes to a fold especially when Rex passes away, thus meaning that Vincent would now be in charge of the team. Stanley, who has had some trouble with his family due to constantly being away due to his work and travels, might have finally found the future star as he sees young Spanish player Bo Cruz dominating in a local pickup game. This kid definitely has the talent and skill, but can he cut it out in the NBA? And so we see Stanley training Bo and all the troubles that they face. Let me come straight away to say that Hustle is as typical as sports movies general go. Nothing will surprise you. It's quite tropey at times. You've got all the trappings of a difficult background, a loving family who cannot be with you due to distance, due to traveling around, something of a temper, and so much more. So why have I been so positive about it so far? Well, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this review to find out. I cannot start reviewing this movie without focusing on its lead, Adam Sandler. What a damn good performance by one of Hollywood's most inconsistent actors. The incredible intimacy he brings out in this movie is fantastic. Any and all of his interactions, whether they are with his own family, with his wife, his daughter, or whether it's with Bo and his family, have such emotional weight, and this is first and foremost what makes you want to continue watching this movie. Despite knowing exactly where it's going to go, and despite feeling like you've seen 100 movies similar to this. A goal, anyone? So, Sandler is the emotional core of this movie. He imbues his role with such heart. This movie felt really personal for him. I could instantly tell how much real-life passion Sandler has for this sport. The rest of the cast are fine, considering he is a professional basketball player first and foremost. Juancho Hernangómez actually gives us a decent performance as this raw talent of a basketball player, and I actually really enjoyed the relationship that develops between him and Sandler's character. There is true chemistry between the two. However, another standout is Queen Latifah, who gives an inspired performance as Stanley's wife. There is some great chemistry here as well, and the conflicts that develop between the two never felt forced. They never ham it up. Instead, it all feels quite grounded and real, the kind of real arguments that a couple would have in their position. I just wish there was more of her. I really feel like they could have developed the relationship between Stanley and his wife much, much more. My one true disappointment from the whole cast would have to be Ben Foster, and to be honest, this must be blamed more on the writing than on the actor himself. Because yes, the writing throughout is not great. What we have here is a rather confusing plot with quite a few pacing issues. However, it's the treatment of Ben Foster's character, who is somewhat one of the two antagonists of this story that frustrated me the most. An antagonist needs to have some kind of motivation. There needs to be a reason why they offer opposition to our protagonist. That's rule number one of writing an antagonist. Unfortunately, we never truly understand why Vincent is trying to be such an asshole towards Sandler's character, Stanley. And so we all end up with this kind of like goofy antagonist who's just an asshole for the sake of it, and this definitely does not help Ben Foster in his role. However, surprisingly, the movie still works quite well. As this is only a small part of the movie, the cinematography and camera work is quite hit and miss. There are a lot of shaky cam moments throughout, which really put me off. I must also admit, however, that most of the basketball action is caught really well, and there is some truly creative and interesting work there. The editing in the basketball scenes is also excellent. Ultimately, Hustle is a great time, and definitely more than the sum of its parts. Dissecting it like I did might make it sound like quite a poor attempt at a sports movie. However, there just is something between Sandler and Hernangómez that is just pure fire. Sandler pulls off the coaching role with perfection, and he just carries the movie throughout. This is a basketball fans movie, true and true, and there are a number of basketball stars who make a cameo without ever hurting the overall narrative, which is great to see. But I also had a good time with it, despite not knowing anything that was going on, because I know nothing about basketball and I'm not interested in that sport. Still, I had a great time, and overall I think Hustle is well worth the watch if you are a fan of, obviously, basketball, or to be honest, if you are a fan of sports movies in general. It definitely deserves a 3.5 out of 5.